Good morning, everybody. This is Dr. Tyler Evans from Arete Chiropractic, coming at you live with an amazing paper this morning talking about manipulation of dysfunctional spinal joints affects sensorimotor integration in the prefrontal cortex, a brain source localization study. This paper was done by Heidi Haavik down in New Zealand. She is a chiropractic researcher at the New Zealand Chiropractic College, and this paper came out in 2000 and I believe it was 16. So it just came out, fairly recent. And why this paper is really cool is because it talks about changes in the brain after getting the spine adjusted. Now, this is Dr. Haavik here, Dr. Heidi. She's amazing. I highly recommend going and looking up her book here called The Reality Check, Quest to Understand Chiropractic from the Inside Out. And her research is all about how chiropractic is not just about, adjusting bones. It's about changing the brain and how effective chiropractic is at helping the nervous system to work better. And so today what I want to do is just break down a little bit of the anatomy and physiology of the brain so that you can understand this paper better, and then I'll give you the results of the paper. So we have in the brain, we have three parts, three major parts. So we have the cerebellum, which is our brain that most of us think of as like the human part. That's the part that does the summation of thinking and what makes us conscious. And then we have the cerebellum, which is more of the, it's a little bit more of the older brain. It does more of the kind of unconscious, just habitual habits and skills, movement, things that we've memorized, like when you drive to work and you forget that you're driving and you get there and you're like, holy cow, I just drove for 20 minutes and how did I get here? That's the cerebellum. Or you have something that you say over and over all the time and you can't figure out why you keep saying it. That's the cerebellum. It's just repetitive patterns, and that's the part of your brain that memorizes those things. And then you have the little brainstem down here. And the brainstem is very important because that's the area that controls how your body functions. Things like breathing, heart rate, immune function, all the basic things that you don't think about that just kind of happen, that are old characteristics from way, way back. Those are all controlled by that brainstem. And so if we split the brain up and we look a little deeper, we have these other pieces to it. So we have what we call the temporal lobe here. That's the side of the head. We also have the frontal lobe, the parietal lobe, and the occipital lobe. And then down there's the cerebellum and the brainstem again. And if we look inside, the brain is split into two sides, so right and left side, and we have this cortex that goes around the top here, that is the cerebrum. And then deep inside we have the, right here we have the brain stem, if I can point to it down. Right here, down in here. And so that is the brainstem and the cerebellum. Now, why is all that important? Because when you break it down with the part that makes us human, so the part that we have conscious thought and conscious ability to decide what we want to do and make judgments, the brain is broken up into these areas that I talked about: the frontal lobe, the parietal lobe, the occipital lobe, and the temporal lobe. And these areas are what controls visual stimulus, and then summation of feeling and movement, and then also the speech areas right up here. And the prefrontal area is very, very important. And that's the part that they actually saw changes in this study. So now what happened in the study? So neuroplastic changes have been shown to occur following spinal manipulation. What does that mean? Well, it means the brain is plastic. It can change. It means that nerves that fire together, they wire together. So you can actually change the way the nerves fire by consciously shifting, your focus. And so what they found is that actually chiropractic can do that too, and that chiropractic adjustments can shift the way the nerves fire together. And so in this study, they were working to study that with, they used subclinical patients, so patients that had pain, neck pain, back pain, but did not go to a professional to seek out care yet. And so this was the first time that they had sought out some kind of intervention. And they were analyzed by chiropractors, and then they put a cap, an EEG cap, a 62-channel EEG cap. So they studied all the areas of the brain and how the different areas of the brain were functioning. And what they found was that the prefrontal cortex, out of all the areas of the brain, changed the most consistently. 20% shift in this, what they call the N30 amplitude or wave, in a positive direction following the chiropractic adjustment and not the sham adjustment. So nothing changed after a sham. They would actually kind of like put people in a position, but they didn't want to move them too much because then it would fire some receptors into the brain. So they just did a little bit of movement, passive movement with the spine, and that was the sham. And then these chiropractic adjustment patients, the one that experienced that, they had 20% changes in how the prefrontal cortex fired. So chiropractic has been, for a long time, put in this box of, the back doctor or just low back pain or just neck pain. But what we're finding is that chiropractic can shift how your brain functions. And so here are the things that are what the prefrontal cortex run. The prefrontal cortex is thinking about thinking, higher reasoning, executive function. These are the 9 functions of the prefrontal cortex: empathy, insight, response flexibility, emotion regulation, body regulation, morality, intuition, attuned communication, and fear modulation. So I'm pretty sure that we all want to, be our best selves, and chiropractic is an effective way of helping to change the brain for better, for good. This paper is a really good kind of link to that. And if you have more questions about that, give us a call. Again, Dr. Tyler Evans from Arete Chiropractic. Chiropractic is not just about back pain or neck pain, it's about brain health. So hope you have a really great day, and we'll see you next week.